Well, hello everyone, and welcome, and thank you for joining us. Today, I have here with me in the Office of Digital and Online Learning a very special guest. But before I get to the guest, let me just tell you all who I am in case you don't know me. I am Dr. Morris Thomas, and I serve at Howard University as our Assistant Provost for Digital and Online Learning. I also am the director of our Center for Excellence in Teaching, Learning, and Assessment, which we call CETLA here at Howard University. I also teach in the School of Business and also the School of Education. And I'm excited to be here talking about one of our newest online programs. And I have with us here the program's director, and that of the person of Dr. Yeboah Quarkume. She is an associate professor of African American Studies in the College of Arts and Sciences. And she also holds a number of other roles, which I'll let her tell you about so they are accurate. But I know she works in our Women's Center and also works with the graduate school. So Dr. Amy, as I affectionately call her, would you please tell us more about yourself and your various roles and contributions to the Howard University community? And for us to get started, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Dr. Morris. Thank you for having me. It's an exciting moment at Howard, particularly with data science. Again, my name is Dr. Yeboah Quarkume. Most people call me Dr. A for short, or Dr. Amy. That's okay too. Right now, in the role I have at Howard, I'm in the Department of Afro-American Studies, but I also am the director of the Applied Data Science and Analytics program in the graduate school, alongside being the director of student engagement and community engagement in the Women's Center. Alongside those appointments, I also have, I'm a PI in 2 labs in the graduate school. I'm a PI in the Race and Tech Lab and also in the Core Futures Lab, working with students around issues around race and tech and also environmental justice. So at Howard, I am working with undergrad students, graduate students, and also in my lab, I have high school students who I work with. I truly believe that when we're talking about the future, we cannot leave young people out of that conversation. So in my lab, virtually, we engage with high school students in many research projects. Currently teaching courses in gender, courses in environmental justice, courses in ethics and AI, and general data science as well.
Awesome. Wow. What a dynamic background. So we are certainly here to talk about specifically your role as the director of the Master of Science in Applied Data Science and Analytics program, which is one of our newest graduate online programs here at Howard University. But before we get and delve more into that program and how it emerged and how you developed it and the faculty with whom you have serving in that program, just want to know a little bit more about someone who has such a dynamic background, research interests. Your background, I'm definitely hearing multi and interdisciplinarian. So tell us a little bit more about Dr. Amy and how Dr. Amy came to getting to this point to serving all these roles and capacities. What was your journey like? Tell me a little bit more about that, please.
Thank you. So, first generation from the Bronx, New York. Anyone from New York? I went to college in Temple University. And at Temple University, like most first gens, I thought I was going to be a doctor. That didn't happen the medical way, but I ended up being a doctor, have a PhD. But I started in sociology. From sociology, I began to be interested in many things that engage with Black life. So that pivoted me to just concentrate in African American studies. And then from there, I came to Howard. And at Howard, being at an institution that has so many disciplines, you know, it's you can get easily pushed into one direction if you're doing one thing with Black life, than another direction. So being at Howard has allowed me to kind of work with those who are interested in women's studies. I'm at the Women's Center. I have a focus on education. So from there, I'm working with young people. I study abroad, so we have me pulled into traveling a lot. But specifically when it came to data science, how that new pivot came about was during COVID. During COVID, I had realized that when it came to AI, it seemed to be able to benefit everyone else but Black people. When it came to the vaccines, when it came to testing centers, when it came to even predicting many outcomes, AI seemed to be leaving out or mispredicting instances that relate to African American people. So from there, I felt that it would benefit myself and my students to be able to lean into data science and begin to bring that to Howard and my students specifically in African American studies. So I took 2 years off to kind of learn a new skill. I was a Mellon Fellow, and I studied data science, looked at many programs, took many courses, failed some courses, passed some courses. But in doing that, it's interesting. At the same time, I'm learning and building a network of people. Howard also has great opportunity to start a program. So at the time, MasterCard had funded Howard University to not just start a program, but also to start a cluster hire initiative. And that was bringing together individuals who were not in data science, but who had worked related to data science to begin to create a program. So by the time I finished my studies, Howard was ready to launch something, and I was in the right room at the right time, and everything kind of worked together. I had been to so many institutions that I met so many people that I kind of knew who to pull in and who to ask, and ways in which I felt that at other institutions, their curriculum lacked certain things that I wanted to have at Howard. So at Howard, with what I've learned, I became director, still working in African American studies. And then my research most recently deals with environmental justice, because climate change is very, very pressing issue. And I felt that also for my students to be able to kind of lean into that. So with my research labs, we look at environmental justice. So those three areas are kind of working together, looking at marginalized communities, environmental justice, and using data science as a tool. And that's how I'm kind of balancing all these different areas. But it's a kind of a perfect storm that Howard's doing the same thing I'm interested in. And now we have the space to kind of begin to play with these different tools to be able to create solutions for our communities.
Absolutely. That's amazing. I love the few things you shared I want to circle back to. So one, I want to clarify, when you say first generation, you're not meaning first generation college student, or are you?
I am, yep. My parents have less than high school.
Okay, well, so, and were you also mentioning as far as first generation as well, as far as U.S. citizen, or no?
Yes, U.S. citizen. Yep, born here first. My parents.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify. I wasn't sure if it was on both. I knew it was one or the other, but it's both. So first generation U.S. African American, and then also first generation college student. Wow. And you also, I want to circle back to, you said you went and did some study on data science. Was it because it was an interest, or you were watching the trends and realizing it was emerging and it was the thing that the area, the discipline that needed attention and study to get at some of your areas of interest? Like, tell us a little bit more about you doing more study after already having, one, being a professor, having a terminal degree. I'm just curious about that.
It's interesting. People say terminal degree, they're like, it's a dead end road. Like, that's the end of it. But I have always been a constant learner, and you can ask Dr. Morris, like, anything Sutler puts up, I'm signing up for, because I just feel like my students need to be in the best position to have the most up-to-date information. So it involves me always learning. All right. So yes, after I got my PhD, I went back to school again to get another degree. I did have a strong background in statistics in undergrad and graduate school. So I've been dealing with quantitative data for a long time. So data science was just kind of another elevated conversation as far as quantitative studies. So even though I'm a humanist, I do have a strong quantitative background. But yes, it took me going back to school. And interestingly, I thought that, the best thing to do was to figure out those who created this technology where they studied. So I went to Harvard, took some classes. It wasn't the best thing to do because the curriculum wasn't what I was looking for. But then I also studied at UMass too. Just looking around and jumping around, looking at what was data science, what was causing all this tension in our communities, and how did they get it wrong, right? So it really was a journey of just kind of learning and growing. But yes, I did go back to school.
I think that's great. And I too did post-terminal or postdoctoral work and got some additional degrees postdoctoral. So I relate to you there. And I think it's essential. And that's why I wanted to highlight that, because just as you had your foundation and your discipline and your expertise in African American studies, there's other disciplinary and other work that lends to that. And that also speaks to the possible students who might come into the data science program. They may have other professions but need to add this. But for me, one of the reasons I'm able to run our Office of Digital Online Learning and do this work in this area, because I went back and got a credential in instructional technology management and many certifications in distance and online learning and so on and so forth, to be able to do this work that's so pivotal, because this is the fastest growing sector of higher education, and has been for over a decade, which is online learning, which brings us to our online program that we have, and is the Master of Science in Applied Data Science and Analytics. And so I love that title, because you have to study it to get it right, possibly. And so having a Master of Science, this particular program, the courses that you have at Howard University, tell us about, what is the curriculum like? What courses are offered in the curriculum? How long does the program take? How is it structured? If you could tell us some of that about the program itself.
Yeah, so the program from the committee came up with this idea to kind of create a program that is applied. That's one. So the data science that's standalone, that you can learn the tools, but it's an applied program, because we believe that the most impact can be made when you're applying the tools. And it's a program where it caters to non-STEM. So we know that one of the issues within the data science and tech field is diversity. Not diversity just in race and gender, but also diversity in discipline, right? And we know that data cuts across many disciplines. You can be in health, can be in education, you can be in sociology, philosophy. Data science kind of touches every aspect of our lives. And the third thing, we wanted to, again, make impact. So the framework of the program is social justice. So we're kind of taking those who traditionally would not be in this field, equipping them with tools to be able to make change. And that program is no more than 2 years, but some have been excited to do it in one. But it's a program that's 30 credits, and at 30 credits, you're allowed to take 6 elective credits. But of the other credits, you're taking required courses in at least four programming languages: Python, R, SQL, and then some machine learning programming as well. You'll learn storytelling. You'll learn about ethics and AI. And then you'll have this applied course where we're giving you a community partner who has a data science problem. And it's your job to kind of take your skills and find a solution. So their problem may be cleaning data. Their problem may be collecting the data. Their problem may be creating a dashboard. But it's a real community that where you actually use your skills to make an impact. So that closes out your journey. There is no thesis. There are no GRE requirements. It's just really you coming from your discipline and learning a new tool to be able to make an impact. And I was speaking to some of our students this week. It's midterms, and they're feeling it, right? It's real, right? To learn 4 languages, right? It's real, but they will dance at graduation, because they've definitely done what we need in our society. We need more people who are not in tech to engage in tech to be able to solve some of these problems we have.
That's great. And I love it. So basically, there's not this disciplinary barrier. So I have an undergrad in something completely different, never have had a stats course or a STEM course or a technology course specific to this, and be able to apply and be admitted to this program?
Yes, so we don't have any prereqs. We do have some suggested courses you should take. Like, you should probably take some Python if you don't know what Python is. It's not just a snake; it's a computer program. And then you should have some statistics background, right? But yeah, we're trying to get those who are not in data science into data science, right? And that is a special call. So whatever your field you're in, we have faculty who are not in the computer science who have the ability to speak computer science to you from your background. So we have a faculty member from English, someone from education, someone from pharmacy, someone from biology, right? So they're not traditionally trained in, let's say, computer science, so they know how to engage with students who are not from a STEM background, to get them the tools, the experience, the internship opportunities, to be able to say, I now have the ability and the skills to be able to engage in a field that is in many ways taking over. Like, data is everywhere. Data is the new oil. And if we don't get people from many different disciplines to engage, we'll find ourselves behind, like what happened with COVID.
Absolutely. And so, as you also mentioned earlier, if a person is very ambitious, they could finish this 30 credit hour program in a year or to 2 years, and it's completely 100% online. They are able to apply, enroll, and complete the entire program, no matter where they geographically live. Can you tell us about your student makeup, where your students in your program living and residing and things like that?
Yeah, thank you, thank you. So we about over 30 students in the program, some part-time, some full-time. We have students from the West Coast, East Coast, down south. We have students in the Caribbean. We have students on the continent. Right, so we have students all over. The program is 100% online. If you start in a semester, you can take the fall, spring, and summer, and you should be able to complete the program in a year if you go full-time. For those who are going part-time, they'll probably take a year and a half to two. But it's 100% online because we have this elective offering space. If you are in the DC area, or if you want to spend a semester at Howard in person, you can use those 6 credits to take an in-person class. That's a graduate level if you want, but you don't have to. You can just fully take the online experience. And for our graduate students, it's been great. This week is homecoming week. They're celebrating homecoming like everyone else, right? Virtually. So you are 100% a Howard student, receiving the Howard experience, getting a virtual education, but making a large impact, because that's the Howard way.
Absolutely. And I will add to this that if they were to come to the Mecca and come in person, they will be welcome to come to the homecoming events and other events onto the campus, because our online population are also Bison and very much a part of it. But as we know, everyone can't move to DC, and at the graduate level may decide to take an online program. So with that online program, are these students allowed to come in person to the actual graduation to experience the graduation activities in person with everyone else?
Yes. So if you're graduating, you can come in person. If you're abroad, we can apply by invitation to attend your graduation. So yes, you're a fully Howard student, Howard ID, Howard email, Howard experience. Your education is just given to you virtually, but even in that, you can still take in-person classes to satisfy your courses, but also the program is still 100% virtual. So yes, we look to see you at graduation.
And we want to also emphasize, I'll emphasize this, all of your faculty that Dr. Amy was mentioning, these are all Howard University faculty members, and many of your faculty members are full-time, correct?
Yes, yes. We have a mix of faculty. About 60% are full-time. And then we have data scientists who are also teaching courses. We also have a computer scientist also teaching a Python course. But all our faculty are full-time faculty at Howard on tenure track. They do live instruction, so you're not going to get like a slide with no one talking. You have office hours. We provide tutoring. You'll get a live engaging curriculum alongside internship opportunities. You'll be able to work with community partners and stakeholders and be able to build your resume. Even in just one semester of taking 2 classes, you learn 2 languages that will set you apart from anyone on the job market.
So I have to ask this question because I know that those who may be very interested right now, they're like, okay, I can come into this program almost from any discipline. I can get it done in a year to 2 years. And I'll actually park there. Can anyone start any semester? Can they start fall, spring, and summer, or is it just a fall start? When does it start?
We do have enrollment fall, spring, summer. There's just one summer enrollment. It's 2 semesters in the summer. You can start in any of one of those semesters. So applications are open now, and they'll open up again for the summer in the spring. But we are taking spring admissions now.
Perfect. So they're like, okay, I'm ready to get going. A big question is going to be, what is the cost, and are there any funding or financial aid opportunities and things of that nature?
Okay, so good question. So the program altogether, 30 credits, costs about $54,000, which is a great investment in your master's degree, right? Yeah. So the program is credited a little bit lower than the traditional graduate per credit hour. Even amongst our peer institutions in DC, we're still below that. But about $54,000 in a master's degree. And I say that because we know that you can get a free data science certificate from somewhere for maybe $9.99. you can get maybe another certificate somewhere else for maybe $1,000, right? But you're getting a master's degree. And the way things are going, we are predicting that at some point the field will require some type of accreditation, that if you get it now, you'll be ahead of that conversation. You won't have to come back to receive your master's degree. But the field is new, it is growing, but we do believe that it will pivot to requiring a degree, not a certificate. And at this time, you'll be ahead of the game, particularly at Howard, with learning from a very diverse group of faculty where the job force is asking that people not only be skilled in tools, but also be skilled in communication. So we have faculty who teach you how to talk about data, how to apply for grants using data, and how to tell stories with data.
Absolutely. So, master's degree experience, and I'll be honest, I am an advocate of education, an advocate of the full credentials. What better posture you and give you many more opportunities now and for the long term. So keep that in mind if you're interested and you're determining between that smaller micro credential versus a actual degree credential. And then it's also a degree from Howard University. Speaking of Howard University, why was it so important, or why is it so important for Howard University and this program to enter the sphere of applied data science and analytics? And what's different about Howard degree in this area or experience as compared to some of our peer or counterpart institutions?
Great question. So at Howard, we know that it's about truth and service. So what our curriculum undergirds is a sense of impact. So industries now are looking at those who understand data in making impact, whether it's in the financial district, in the health district. How do I look at numbers and understand what impact these numbers can make for my stakeholders or even my organization, right? So we have a sense of empowering students to understand that you can look at numbers, look at statistics, look at data, and understand the impact and ask questions that are unique to what other people may be asking of data. The second thing is we do use data sets that look like the communities where we come from. So we have data sets that come from the continent, data sets that come from the Caribbean, data sets that come from within DC. So we're looking at real data from people who look like us and speak like us and are dealing with issues like us, where it comes from agriculture, health, the full gamut. We do that. And the last thing I'll say, what also sets us apart is this is a program where the faculty are not all in one discipline. So you can come from one discipline and meet students and faculty from other disciplines, which just strengthens you as you begin to build your career. So you're able to speak to someone in education, speak to someone in English, speak to someone in health, speak to someone in business, speak to a data scientist. We have 2 faculty who are data scientists, right? And that gives you a more interdisciplinary and also holistic training that isn't just in either computer science or data science. And at Howard, we truly believe that we really train our students to make impact, and that's what sets us apart.
That's awesome. And that's really great. And if you are considering this, it's really going to bode well for you, because many times you have to take this applied, and I love that it's an applied program. So it's going to be something where you're actually engaging into real data sets, real scenarios that, like you said, are specific to marginalized groups that reflect the experiences of the students at Howard University, the growing, evolving, diverse population. So, and then you mentioned the social justice aspect of the program, the lens of the program as well. So you all are hearing it. There's a lot of benefit and a lot of aspects that make this program unique and stand out. So as we wrap up this talk, this time together, is anything else you want to just reiterate or highlight about the program? And what's coming up? Anything you want to just share with that?
Yes, I think I didn't answer one question about funding. So we do have funding opportunities. This program is funded by MasterCard. So we have MasterCard Impact Scholars, which provide tuition support and assistance for our students. So that's one thing. The graduate school also provides some financial aid as well and scholarships. So not only are we providing a unique curriculum, but we also know that many of those who are not in computer science are sacrificing, whether you're leaving your job to be able to have this be in this program full time, or you're managing your job and trying to kind of build up your resume. We do provide scholarships. So we're just happy to work with anyone who's ready to kind of get their hands dirty and work in data science and predicting a better future, right? So the analytics is kind of like dealing with data. Data science really prediction. So we're looking for people who want to predict a better future using data.
Awesome. And then my last question would be just simply, what is you have the URL for people who want to jump right in, find the application, or learn more about it and read this information that you've been going over. Can you provide that URL, or is there a person that can be contacted?
Yes, so our website, datascience.howard.edu. And from there, you should be able to see the application, which is on the graduate school website, the GradCast application for the spring, summer, or fall, but datascience.howard.edu.
All right, you all heard it, datascience.howard.edu. Go ahead and visit and get moving on your data science journey. Thank you so much, Dr. Amy. It's been a pleasure to have this time with you. And I'm so excited about the work and thankful for the work and contributions you are doing here at Howard University and the graduate school, and how your program also impacts the Office of Digital and Online Learning and the online learning offerings that we are doing here at Howard University, where we say we are advancing opportunities and expanding our reach. And we're so happy and thankful for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.